internet. And it was a reading given at the Longton National Spiritualist Church in England. And it is called The Potent Power of Prayer by Gordon Higginson. And Gordon Higginson was one of the finest mediums of the last century, a great speaker, just a minute, need to click something, and teacher. His gifts of mediumship were wide-ranging and comprised mental mediumship, trance, physical mediumship, and healing. Gordon was also a man of great charisma and an outstanding servant of the spirit. Spiritualists do not have a special knowledge of why their loved ones are taken at the time of passing. They have the knowledge of continuous life. The spiritualist does at least know that no life is wasted, no experience is wasted, although we cannot see the whole pattern. I believe that prayer is important in our lives, perhaps the most important part of development. It has such powerful implications. It can have such an effect upon us. It is no use developing the psychic unless you also learn about yourself as a spiritual being, a part of God. When you pray, you become the prayer. We understand that God is an inner power, not outside of us. When you ask for something in prayer, it is no use expecting an outside power to come along and give you what you have requested. But if you recognize that and become your prayer through the sincerity and depth of your thoughts, then you have the answer. God has to find ways and means whereby your prayer can be answered. How does this happen? We have, through prayer and intention, opened the doors to the spirit world, bringing this other world close. Instead of being up there a million miles away, we have brought it here, close to us. We have discovered a world that is ours. We belong there. We have rights which are awaiting to be claimed. The more we explore this, the closer it comes. Given that we accept there is no God as a personality, why do we pray? Who is going to hear us? Surely it is our loved ones, those who are closest to us, who will hear us, those who have been given spiritual charge of our welfare upon earth. Here in spiritualism, we often call these guides or helpers. Very often it is these who put thoughts into our minds for our moral and spiritual development. It is important that we learn to listen to these. Prayer is not about asking, demanding even, when we think that we are asking for the right things. Prayer is listening, communicating, being at one with reality, the reality of God. In prayer, we become our God. And if we listen, we are given the answers, the strength, and the knowledge to see through our troubles, not from an outside source, but from our inner reality. I have sometimes been filled with the most complete feeling of love and belonging through prayer. Then I know that I am in touch. Then I thank God for all that I have. I am reminded of that which has been given to me. When I give thanks, I am reminded forcibly of the beauty of the universe, and I am one with God. I always think that part of our prayers should be an acknowledgement of the closeness of the spirit world, not because my friends in that world need to be reminded, but I, as a human soul, need to be reminded of the love which is so freely given from those realms. Each person will experience prayer in his or her own way because each of us is different. There are some that use a formula, but I do not think that has great value. When you use these words, when you use these same words over and over, they become at best not a prayer, but a mantra. And that is a different matter entirely. Prayer must be stimulated from the heart, not the memory. If you have absorbed the love of God and Spirit, this will be manifest in your prayer. If you have a sincere desire to help and to make progress in your own progress, this will be heard by those near to you. You will become an instrument of your desires through the help of the spirit world. All too often, the effect of the subconscious mind is underestimated. We have all that is needed within us. Prayer can free us from the limitations we place upon ourselves. As spiritualists, we know there is another world. We know that there is nothing supernatural, that everything is in accordance with natural law. There is an awakening. I see a hunger for a new vision of life. The door to spiritual vistas will open when we allow the flow of inner impressions to break into our souls and guide our lives. When we bring the love of God and the deep desire to serve God into our lives, then we will understand our relationship with all life. In this state of awareness, there is inspiration from those in the spirit life. We must not fail them. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Lynn. I love that. I came across that, and I absolutely love that description of prayer, because I'm often asked, how do you pray? What do you say in prayer? And what does it mean? You know, uh, and I'm often cautioned, don't always be asking for things in prayer. Um, so Gordon Higginson had a great answer there. He, by the way, was born in 1918 and he left the earth plane in 1993. And he left a lot of well-trained people behind him because he was a man of incredible talents and an incredible example for spiritualism. Prayer. I know that growing up, I often thought, and my impression, although we didn't pray as such in the philosophy that I was raised in, but when I started learning about prayer and that, I always thought, okay, that's, you ask for things. Now, what would you ask for? Obviously, if something's wrong in your personal life, you would jump to that. And it would be a prayer of asking, a prayer of, fix it, please. Until I realized that, wait a minute, all I ever do is just ask things. And that never felt 100% right. I'm very much somebody who, when I'm doing something, I feel with my whole physical being. And you can do this too. And you'll know if there's something off about it, because your body's just going, nah, something's not right there. Don't sit and just go, it's raining outside. Please make the rain go away. By the way, that's not going to happen for a couple of days, but the asking isn't what we need to be doing. Going inside, tuning in to our spiritual nature, tuning into our soul, and making that connection with God. That's what we need to be doing. And then coming from that place, that resonates so strongly with me, because that's the place that knows what we'd like. That's the place that knows what is that next step in our journey. There isn't some book that somebody runs off to and flips through the pages and go, okay, A, B, and C, that's next on the list here. It doesn't work that way. And you'll find, and most of us have found this, we go into prayer and then we just leave it there. When you're asking for something, you find that you then are waiting on an answer. If you're just putting out the emotion, the realness that you're feeling, you know, it's okay to say, I'm not doing well, I'm struggling. That's absolutely fine. We don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but we can very much definitely put that out there. And I have done that when something has really got me off kilter and I know that I'm not dealing with it well. I know that I'm reacting emotionally and snapping possibly, you know, at someone over the situation. If I can take that step back and go, whoa, wait a minute, and find that place inside me, because once you're there, you'll feel the peace. You blend with that love, you blend with that peaceful energy, and your stress lifts. And it's a good reminder that we can do this anytime during our day if it's needed and when it's needed. You know, life has its stresses nowadays. Well, life's always had its stresses. Let's put it that way. There's always things that come up amongst friends, acquaintances, our family. What we're looking for is to be able to, at those moments, go into that place of love. And if we need to say a prayer, say that prayer and lift our energies up so that we're able to see the situation a lot clearer. Sometimes there isn't anything for us to do in it. It's for us just to step back and not allow it to tear us apart. Not take on that negative energy. There's enough of that out in the world. And we don't need to take that on into our lives. We are all spiritual beings. We are all a part of God. And we need to know that. We need to feel that. And to feel it, we need to be able to tune in and find that place inside of us that love surges forth. We are caring, sensitive beings on this journey. And that makes us a lot more sensitive to the world around us. I cry at things on TV sometimes, and then I find I have to turn it off because I'm feeling it too much. That isn't helpful to the situation, and it's not helpful to me. What I can do in situations like that is sit for that moment or two, link to spirit, and say a prayer, send a prayer out, which sends out healing and sends out love. And you know, it's powerful. It's very powerful, and more so when you have a group like this that has come together, like-minded people. We are the same and yet we're different. We all have different paths to walk. So my path isn't going to be what your path is exactly, and yours isn't going to be what mine is. But you know, I can learn from you. If I stay in that place where I really listen and I'm tuned in. But, you know, think of this. Why bother having any kind of a conversation with somebody that's important if we're not going to really, really listen? And that means, for me, it means feeling what is being said, as well as hearing what's being said. And as sensitives, we do that anyway. But realize what you're doing. Be aware of what you're doing and do it on purpose. Tune in. Be really there so that you can help people. so that you can be that person that can reach out. And you'll find as sensitives, as we go through our lives, people are attracted to us. Sometimes they have no idea why, but it's because they feel the energy. And that's really important. Because what we say and do in our lives is important. But first of all, we have to be there for us. Go into that prayer, lay it all out on the table, feel the emotion from inside. Sometimes you may find out what's really bothering you. Feel and see what comes out. And then leave it there. Know that your friends in spirit, guides, helpers, whatever you want to call them, know that they're there and they're going to be helping. They're always there for us. I know that every time as a medium that I'm on a platform of any sort, I always have that thought, what if they don't show up? And I used to feel bad, like, why? Because they always did, and they always do. And I thought, why do I keep feeling like that? And then someone said to me, that keeps you on the straight and narrow. So appreciate that you feel that. You're not taking it totally for granted, and I don't. The difference in my life now compared to the road that I walked without spirit side by side, they were always there. I just wasn't acknowledging them for the longest time. And there's such a difference. I can face anything now. I really can. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get down about it or, and have to come back up. But it just means I'm not alone, and I know that. I am part of something greater than myself, and we all are. We are all part of God, and we are all these, I see us as these beautiful, I love stones, so beautiful shining diamonds with all these different facets to us. But each facet makes the whole. Without one facet, there's something missing, isn't there? And that was putting spiritualism into my life. So when you're walking along through your life, through this upcoming week, if things are coming at you, stop. Go, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not taking that on. It's not mine. I can be there for the person, but I'm not taking that energy on. And I'm going inside to see what I can find and see what answer comes to me. And you find by going into the silence and being silent, the answer will come. It always does. They're always there. So walk hand in hand with them and talk to them and enjoy the journey. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Melba.